How can a mother cut off her own child? I mean, that question just hits you right in the gut, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels almost unnatural, against the grain.
Exactly. But that's the intense territory we're exploring today. We've got this deeply personal account, a mother explaining, really laying bare why she decided to stop contact with her 36-year-old son.
And it's after his divorce, but as you dig in, you see the divorce was more like the final straw, right?
Yeah, precisely. It wasn't just the divorce. She talks about this long, long history of what she calls his emotional immaturity, his dependence, a lifetime of it, really.
It's quite a narrative she presents, very raw and brave, I think, to share it. You know, society puts such emphasis on family bonds being unbreakable.
Totally. So hearing this side, it's powerful. It really forces you to look at the complexities, the strains that can push even, fundamental relationships to a breaking point. And I bet a lot of you listening, maybe you've seen similar things. Maybe your own family or friends' families, whether you're the parent, the child, or just watching it unfold.
It's a dynamic many people recognize, I think.
Our goal here isn't about judging, not at all. It's about trying to understand her journey, her reasons behind this incredibly difficult choice.
Right. What led up to it?
We want to get into the nuances, her thinking, and what it tells us about adult relationships, personal responsibility, and where parental support maybe crosses a line.
Those blurred lines. Okay, so let's start with the son, Josh, as she describes him.
Right. So he's 36. Outwardly, he looks like a grown man. Beard, truck, has a job, though. She says he only half likes it.
The typical picture, sort of.
Exactly. But underneath, she sees someone emotionally stuck. Still 17 is the phrase she uses.
Oh, that's quite a statement. 36 versus 17. That gap, it immediately tells you there's a huge disconnect in her eyes.
A huge disconnect. And it sets the stage for this history she describes.
Yeah, she talks about years of being his safety net, constantly cleaning up his messes, even long after he technically moved out. Which, some level of parental support for adult kids is common. But this sounds different. More pervasive.
It seems like it went way beyond just helping out occasionally. And maybe that's a key thing here. That sometimes, even with the best intentions, constant support can stop someone from facing consequences.
It shields them, doesn't it? Hinders them learning to take full responsibility.
And then his wife, Amanda, comes into the picture.
Right. And the mother paints a very clear picture of Amanda. Patient, kind, stable, good job, paid her share, cooked. Liked him, genuinely liked him.
A stark contrast to how she describes Josh at that point.
Absolutely. She contrasts Amanda's stability with Josh's behavior, spending money, like water, changing jobs constantly, expecting everyone to accommodate his rough weeks.
It highlights everything the mother felt he was lacking. And you sense this hope she had. Maybe Amanda could fix it, or inspire him to grow up.
That maybe marriage would be the thing that finally made him mature. A common hope, I think.
Yeah, but then the marriage ends.
And that hope just collapses. He comes back home, not really asking, just showing up.
Assuming he'll be taken in with his stuff and his defeated look, as she puts it.
And she lets him in almost automatically. Her thought process is so telling. It's what moms do, right?
Oh, yeah. That hits hard. The societal pressure, the instinct. It's powerful.
It really is. That almost reflexive support, even when maybe he could stand on his own feet. But what she observes next is crucial.
What's that?
She says he didn't seem actually heartbroken about the divorce. More annoyed and blaming Amanda for it all.
So no real self-reflection, no accountability.
That's what she perceived, and that seems to have been a real turning point for her, a moment of seeing things clearly.
And his behavior after moving back in didn't help, I gather.
Not at all. Sleeping late, leaving messes, bringing different women over, joking about his new bachelor freedom.
It sounds like he was regressing, almost deliberately avoiding being an adult in our house.
That's the picture she paints. And then there's that image, her at 62, cooking his dinner, doing his laundry.
Ugh. The imbalance is just so clear there, isn't it? A complete role reversal.
And financially, too. She mentions him hinting about moving out but citing high rent. Yet he had money for new golf clubs.
Right. So priorities. Spending on wants, but maybe not on needs or responsibilities.
Yeah.
It suggests a kind of entitlement, maybe.
An expectation of being provided for. And that's when the mother has this internal realization. He's not 25 anymore.
Yeah, that feels like the penny dropping for her, like finally seeing the pattern for what it is.
Exactly. She's not helping him by doing all this. She's keeping him stuck.
That phrase she uses, I wasn't helping, I was enabling. That's a huge shift, a really painful realization for a parent, I imagine.
Huge. And it leads right into the breaking point.
The big confrontation.
Yeah. He comes home drunk, wakes her up, is dismissive, and then snaps, "I'm not a kid, Mom."
Oh, the irony. Saying that while behaving exactly like one, in her view.
Precisely. And that's what finally pushes her over the edge. It's the last straw on top of everything else. His denial, his behavior.
And her response then, it wasn't quiet anymore, was it?
No. She apparently laid it all out. The failed marriage, the opportunities he wasted, the fact he's 36 and still depending on her for everything.
Wow. Just a direct confrontation, no more hinting.
No more hinting, and then the ultimatum. You have 1 week. Move out.
That's a massive boundary to draw, especially after years of, well, not drawing it.
Massive. Probably the firmest one she'd ever set with him, based on her account. A necessary step, maybe, to break that cycle.
And how did he react?
Disbelief. Accusations. You always take other people's side, never mine.
Which is interesting because according to her, she'd spent years doing the opposite, right?
Exactly. That's what's so revealing. She then recalls all the times she did take his side, covered for him, made excuses.
What kind of things?
She mentions him stealing from a roommate, a car accident where she helped smooth things over, constantly making excuses for his behavior to Amanda.
So a long pattern of shielding him.
Yeah.
Cleaning up the mess.
A vivid pattern. So, yeah, for him to accuse her of never taking his side, it shows how skewed his perspective might have become. He expected her to always take his side, no matter what.
Because she always had. Until now.
Until now, it completely shattered the dynamic they'd had for decades.
So what happened after the ultimatum? Did he go?
She says he didn't seem to take it seriously at first, but when the week was up, she packed his things, left them on the porch.
Wow. That's definitive. No ambiguity there.
None. A very clear message. And then, silence. 9 months, she says, of no contact from either side.
9 months? That's a long time. And she must have faced criticism from family.
Oh, yes. She mentions her sister saying, "Mothers don't give up." That deeply ingrained idea.
That hits on a core societal expectation, doesn't it? Unconditional support, no matter what.
It does. But the mother's response is so powerful. She says, "I didn't give up. I gave everything."
Reframing it completely. Not abandonment, but exhaustion. Reaching the end of her rope after giving everything she had.
Exactly. She sees it as stopping a pattern that was hurting them both. For her, support no longer meant rescuing him. It meant letting him face his own life.
Letting him stand on his own.
Right. And she talks about what she gained. Peace, sleep, a clean house, not constantly waiting for him to finally grow up.
Those aren't small things. That's reclaiming her own life, her own well-being.
Absolutely. It's a release from that constant burden. And she anticipates the judgment, from people who haven't walked in her shoes.
People who haven't raised someone who, in her words, never really grows up.
And she offers this different definition of strength, saying no to the child you love because it's what they might actually need.
That challenges everything we're usually told about parental love, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That sometimes love means setting a hard boundary, not endless giving.
It really does. It suggests true strength isn't just sacrifice. It can also be withdrawing support when that support becomes harmful, if it serves long-term growth, even for an adult child.
A really difficult but maybe necessary kind of love.
And that final line she gives, "I didn't abandon Josh. I let him stand, for once." It just perfectly encapsulates her entire reasoning.
Yeah, really does. So when you boil it all down, this deep dive shows this core conflict, this terrible tension.
Between that deep instinct to help your child and the slow dawning realization that your help might actually be preventing them from growing up, enabling the very problem.
Right. And that initial question, how can a mother cut off her own child? It feels different now, doesn't it? Heavier, more complex.
Much more complex. Through her eyes, it's not malice. It's presented as a last resort, a drastic measure to break a destructive cycle.
Which brings us right back to the listener, really. She leaves us with this incredibly tough question, her question, essentially.
Yeah, she asks, if your adult child kept falling apart and dragging you with them every time, would you keep saving them?
Or would you finally walk away too?
Wow, that really makes you pause.
It does. It forces you to confront these messy realities. Love, responsibility, enabling, boundaries. The incredibly hard choices families can face.
Yeah. And there are no easy answers here, are there? Just this one very personal, very painful story that gives us a lot to think about.
A lot to consider about what support really means and the unseen, maybe necessary limits of parental love.